Maya Chen stared at her reflection in the small mirror hanging in the back office of Chapter and Verse bookstore. At 28, she had kind brown eyes and shoulder-length black hair that she usually kept in a simple ponytail during work hours. Today felt different, though. She was nervous, excited, and scared all at the same time. "You look great, Maya," called out Ashley from behind the counter. "He's going to love you." Maya walked back to the front of the store where Ashley was ringing up a customer's purchase. Tyler was restocking the fiction section, but she could see him trying not to laugh about something. These two had been acting strange all week, ever since they told her about this mysterious blind date they'd arranged. Maya had been working at Chapter and Verse for 3 years now. It was a cozy little bookstore in downtown Portland, the kind of place where regular customers knew your name and you could recommend the perfect book for someone's mood. She loved her job, even though it didn't pay much. The smell of coffee, from their small cafe area mixed with the scent of new books, always made her feel at home. But lately, Ashley and Tyler had been making her feel anything but comfortable. They constantly teased her about being single. Every time a decent-looking guy walked into the store, they'd nudge her and whisper things like, "He looks perfect for you," or "Go talk to him." It was embarrassing and annoying. Maya hadn't dated anyone seriously in over 2 years. Her last relationship had ended badly when she caught her boyfriend cheating with someone from his office. Since then, she'd focused on work, her small apartment, and her cat, Whiskers. She was content, or at least that's what she told herself. "I still can't believe someone noticed me at the coffee shop," Maya said, adjusting her cardigan. "Are you sure this guy actually asked about me?" Ashley and Tyler exchanged a quick look that Maya didn't catch. "Oh, absolutely," Ashley said, her voice a little too bright. He was very interested. Asked the barista about the pretty girl who comes in every Tuesday with a book. Maya did go to Sunrise Coffee every Tuesday before work. She'd order a vanilla latte and read for 30 minutes before opening the store. It was her little ritual, her quiet time before dealing with customers all day. The idea that someone had noticed her there was both flattering and terrifying. "What did you tell him about me?" Maya asked, playing with the strap of her purse. "Just the basics," Tyler said, not looking up from the books he was shelving. "That you work here, love reading, and you're single." What Maya didn't know was that there was no mystery man from the coffee shop. Ashley and Tyler had made the whole thing up. It started as a joke during their lunch break last Monday. They were scrolling through dating apps and laughing at the ridiculous profiles when Tyler had an idea. "You know what would be hilarious?" Tyler had said, taking a bite of his sandwich. "What if we set Maya up on a blind date with someone completely wrong for her? Like really wrong. Can you imagine her face?" Ashley had laughed at first, but then she really got into the idea. "We could tell her it's this perfect guy, and then she shows up and it's like, I don't know, someone who's nothing like what she wants." They spent the rest of their break planning it out. They'd create a fake story about someone seeing her at the coffee shop. They'd make up details about this perfect businessman who was interested in meeting her. Then they'd set up the date and watch from nearby tables, filming her reaction when she realized what was happening. It seemed funny at the time. Maya was always so serious, so careful about everything. She needed to loosen up a little, they thought. What harm could one little prank do? So they'd spent the week building up this fake story. They found someone online who seemed like he'd be completely wrong for Maya. Someone who looked like he'd be more interested in sports bars than bookstores. They messaged him pretending to be from a dating service, telling him that a local woman was interested in meeting him. "Romano's is really nice," Ashley said now, watching Maya check her appearance one more time. "You'll love it there." Romano's was an upscale Italian restaurant across town. Ashley had chosen it because it would be busy enough that she and Tyler could sit at a nearby table without being noticed. They'd already made their own reservation for 7:30, half an hour after Maya's date was supposed to start. Maya looked at her watch. It was 5:30, and her date was at 7. She'd been ready since 4 o'clock, changing clothes 3 times before settling on a simple black dress with a blue cardigan. She wanted to look nice, but not like she was trying too hard. "I should probably head home and get ready properly," Maya said. "Feed Whiskers, you know." "You look perfect already," Tyler said, finally looking at her directly. For just a moment he felt a little guilty about what they were planning. Maya was actually a sweet person. She always covered shifts when someone was sick, brought in homemade cookies for the staff, and helped customers find exactly what they were looking for, even if it meant ordering special books. But then he reminded himself it was just a harmless prank. Maya would laugh about it later. Maybe it would even help her see that dating wasn't so scary after all. "Do you have any advice?" Maya asked Ashley. "I mean, it's been so long since I've been on a real date." Ashley felt her stomach twist a little. "Just be yourself," she said, which was ironic considering Maya wasn't going to meet anyone who actually wanted to get to know the real her. Maya gathered her things and headed toward the door. "Wish me luck," she called out. "Good luck," both Ashley and Tyler called back, their voices echoing in the quiet bookstore. As soon as Maya left, Tyler and Ashley looked at each other. "Are we really doing this?" Ashley asked. "It's too late to back out now," Tyler said. "Besides, it'll be funny." Maya needs to stop taking everything so seriously. They spent the next hour making sure everything was set up. Tyler had his phone ready to record, and Ashley had picked out the perfect table at Romano's where they'd have a clear view of Maya's date. They'd even practiced looking casual, like they just happened to be there for their own dinner. At 6:45, they left the bookstore and drove to Romano's. The restaurant was busy, filled with couples and families enjoying their Friday night dinners. Ashley and Tyler got their table and ordered drinks, keeping an eye on the entrance. Maya arrived exactly at 7, looking nervous but hopeful. She spoke to the hostess and was led to a table near the window. Ashley nudged Tyler and pointed. "There she is," Ashley whispered. "Get your phone ready." They watched as Maya sat down and checked her watch. She ordered a water and looked around the restaurant, clearly searching for someone who might be her date. What Ashley and Tyler didn't know was that their prank was about to take a turn that none of them could have predicted. The man they'd contacted online had given their message to his friend, thinking it might be good for him to meet someone new. That friend was nothing like what they'd expected. Maya sat at her table, smoothing her dress and trying not to look as nervous as she felt. She had no idea that her life was about to change in ways she never could have imagined. Maya sat at the small table by the window, her fingers nervously playing with the edge of her napkin. Romano's was busier than she'd expected for a Friday night. The warm lighting and soft music created a romantic atmosphere that made her even more nervous. She checked her phone for the third time in 5 minutes. 7:05. Her date was a little late, but that was normal, right? She took a sip of her water and glanced around the restaurant. Couples were laughing over pasta dishes, families were celebrating what looked like a birthday, and everyone seemed so comfortable and happy. Maya wondered if she looked as out of place as she felt. Across the restaurant, Ashley and Tyler had positioned themselves at a corner table with a perfect view of Maya. Tyler had his phone discreetly placed on the table, ready to start recording what they thought would be Maya's horrified reaction when her date arrived. "There she is," Ashley whispered, stirring her drink with a little too much enthusiasm. She looked so hopeful. "I almost feel bad." "Don't feel bad now," Tyler replied, keeping his voice low. "This is going to be hilarious. Wait until she sees who we set her up with." They'd found their target on a dating app, someone who looked like he spent more time at sports bars than bookstores. Someone who would clearly have nothing in common with quiet, book-loving Maya. The plan was simple. Film her awkward reaction, let the date crash and burn naturally, then reveal it was all a joke. Maya would laugh about it eventually, they told themselves. But as they watched Maya check her watch again, Ashley felt a small knot forming in her stomach. Maya looked genuinely excited, more animated than she'd seemed in months. Her eyes kept darting to the entrance, and she had a small smile on her face. "Maybe we should call this off," Ashley said suddenly. "What? No way. It's too late now," Tyler said, adjusting his phone's angle. "Besides, look how nervous she is. This will help her relax about dating." At 7:10, the restaurant door opened and a man walked in. But he wasn't the person Ashley and Tyler were expecting. This man was tall and well-dressed, wearing a charcoal gray suit that looked expensive. He had dark hair, kind eyes, and moved with the confidence of someone who was used to being in charge. He spoke briefly with the hostess, who smiled and led him directly to Maya's table. Ashley and Tyler stared in confusion. This wasn't their guy. This wasn't even close to their guy. Who is that? Ashley whispered urgently. I have no idea, Tyler replied, his hand frozen over his phone. That's not who we contacted. Maya looked up as the man approached her table and her face lit up with surprise. He was much more polished than she'd expected, but there was something warm and genuine in his expression that immediately put her at ease. Maya? He asked, extending his hand. I'm Alex. Yes, that's me, Maya said, standing to shake his hand. His grip was firm but gentle, and his smile reached his eyes. It's nice to meet you. Alex pulled out her chair as she sat back down, a gesture that made Maya's cheeks flush slightly. Nobody had done that for her in years. I have to admit, Alex said, settling into his chair across from her. I was a little nervous about tonight. It's been a while since I've done this. Maya laughed, feeling some of her tension disappear. I was nervous, too. Actually, I'm still nervous. Well, that makes two of us, Alex said, his smile growing wider. Should we start with the basics? I know almost nothing about you except that you work at a bookstore. What Alex didn't know was that he'd only learned about this date through his business partner, Jake. Someone had contacted Jake through what appeared to be a legitimate dating service, saying a local woman was interested in meeting someone successful and kind. Jake had passed the message along to Alex, thinking his friend needed to get out more. Alex Rodriguez was 31 years old and the CEO of TechFlow Solutions, a software company he'd built from scratch over the past 8 years. He worked long hours and rarely took time for himself, but lately, he'd been thinking about how empty his apartment felt when he came home each night. A bookstore sounds peaceful, Alex said, genuinely interested. What's that like? Maya's face brightened as she started talking about chapter and verse. She told him about her regular customers, about helping people find the perfect book for their mood, about the satisfaction of connecting readers with stories they'd love. Alex listened intently, asking questions that showed he was really paying attention. You light up when you talk about it, Alex observed. That's rare. Most people complain about their jobs. I'm lucky, Maya said. I get to be around books all day and help people discover new worlds. What about you? What do you do? Alex hesitated for a moment. He'd learned to be careful about revealing his job too early in conversations. Some people changed their entire attitude when they learned he was a CEO. Others seemed more interested in his bank account than in him as a person. I run a software company, he said simply. We create programs that help small businesses manage their operations more efficiently. Maya nodded, impressed but not overwhelmed. That sounds important. Small businesses need all the help they can get. They ordered their food. Maya chose the chicken piccata, Alex ordered the salmon, and the conversation flowed naturally. Alex told her about growing up in Portland, about his love of hiking and old movies. Maya shared stories about her favorite books, her cat Whiskers, and her volunteer work reading to kids at the local library. Across the restaurant, Ashley and Tyler were growing increasingly confused and concerned. This wasn't going according to plan at all. Maya and her date were laughing together, leaning in to hear each other better, clearly enjoying themselves. This is a disaster, Ashley whispered. They actually like each other. Maybe this is the wrong guy, Tyler said, still staring at their table. Maybe our guy is still coming. Tyler, look at them. That's definitely her date. She said his name was Alex, right? That's him. Tyler felt his stomach sink. Somehow, their carefully planned prank had gone completely wrong. Instead of setting Maya up for embarrassment, they'd apparently introduced her to someone she genuinely connected with. Meanwhile, Maya found herself more relaxed than she'd been in months. Alex had a way of listening that made her feel heard, really heard. When she told him about her favorite book, a worn copy of Pride and Prejudice that she'd read at least 20 times, he didn't roll his eyes or make jokes about romance novels. I've never read it, Alex admitted, but the way you describe it makes me want to. Really? Maya asked, surprised. Really? Maybe you could recommend a good starting point for someone who usually reads business books and software manuals. Maya felt her heart skip a little. He was actually interested in her recommendations, in her world. Tell me something, Alex said, leaning forward slightly. What made you agree to this blind date? You seem like someone who has plenty of opportunities to meet people. Maya blushed and looked down at her plate. Honestly, my coworkers have been teasing me about being single for months. When they told me someone had noticed me at my regular coffee shop, I was curious, and maybe a little lonely. Alex nodded, understanding. I know that feeling. My business partner practically forced me to say yes to this. He said I work too much and need to meet people outside of the office. Smart business partner, Maya said softly. Yeah, Alex agreed, his eyes meeting hers. I'm starting to think he was right. As their main courses arrived, both Maya and Alex realized something unexpected was happening. This wasn't just a polite first date that they'd both endure, and then politely decline to repeat. There was something real here, something neither of them had anticipated. Ashley and Tyler, meanwhile, were running out of ways to explain what they were witnessing. Their harmless prank had somehow turned into what looked like a genuine love connection, and neither of them knew what to do about it. The evening was about to take an even more unexpected turn, but for now Maya and Alex were lost in conversation, completely unaware that their meeting had been orchestrated as a joke that was backfiring spectacularly. The evening was going perfectly. Maya found herself laughing at Alex's story about accidentally ordering his entire office lunch in Italian during a conference call with their Rome branch. She couldn't remember the last time she'd felt this comfortable with someone new. I spent 20 minutes trying to explain that we didn't actually need 40 pizzas delivered to Portland, Alex said, grinning. The language barrier made it even more complicated. Did you ever figure out what you actually ordered? Maya asked, wiping tears from her eyes from laughing so hard. Eventually. Turns out I'd been asking about their lunch preferences for 3 weeks. They thought I was really interested in their eating habits. Maya took a sip of her wine, feeling more relaxed than she had in months. Alex was nothing like what she'd expected. He was successful, yes, but he wasn't arrogant about it. He was funny without trying too hard. And most importantly, he seemed genuinely interested in what she had to say. Across the restaurant, Ashley was feeling sick to her stomach. She'd been watching Maya's face for the past hour, and she'd never seen her coworker look so happy. Maya was practically glowing. She was animated in a way Ashley had never seen before, using her hands when she talked, leaning forward when Alex spoke, completely engaged in their conversation. Tyler, Ashley whispered urgently, we have to stop this. Tyler was still trying to figure out how their plan had gone so wrong. Stop what? They're just talking. Look at her, Ashley hissed, nodding toward Maya's table. She's falling for him. And he seems to really like her too. This isn't funny anymore. Tyler looked over and had to admit Ashley was right. Maya looked genuinely happy. Happier than he'd seen her since he'd started working at the bookstore. Alex was leaning in when she spoke, laughing at her jokes, asking follow-up questions about her stories. This wasn't the disaster they'd planned to film. Maybe it'll work out, Tyler said weakly. Maybe they'll actually hit it off and everyone wins. Tyler, we set this up as a prank. What happens when they find out? Maya's going to be crushed. And that guy seems really nice. He doesn't deserve to be part of our stupid joke. Ashley's guilt had been building all evening. Every time Maya smiled, every time she tucked her hair behind her ear in that shy way she did when she was nervous but happy, Ashley felt worse. This wasn't the harmless prank they'd imagined. This was real feelings, real emotions, real people who could get seriously hurt. Back at Maya's table, she was telling Alex about her volunteer work at the library. There's this one little girl, Lily, who comes in every week. She's 7 and already reading chapter books. Last week she asked me to help her find stories about girls who go on adventures. Did you find some good ones? Alex asked. Oh, tons. But you know what she said after I showed her the books? Maya's eyes sparkled. She said, Miss Maya, I want to write adventure stories too, but about girls who look like me. She's Korean American, and she noticed that most of the adventure books had characters who didn't look like her. Alex nodded thoughtfully. That's incredibly perceptive for a 7-year-old. Did you find books with Korean American characters? I did, but it took some searching. It made me realize how much work we still have to do in representation. I started a little project at the library to highlight diverse authors and characters. Alex was impressed. Maya wasn't just someone who loved books. She was someone who understood their power and was actively working to make sure all kids could see themselves in stories. He found himself wanting to know more about her projects, her thoughts, her dreams. You're amazing, Alex said quietly, and Maya felt her cheeks warm. Ashley couldn't take it anymore. She abruptly stood up from her table, causing Tyler to nearly spill his drink. Where are you going? Tyler demanded. To fix this before it gets worse, Ashley said, her voice shaky. Ashley, sit down. You can't just... But Ashley was already walking toward Maya's table, her heart pounding. She had no idea what she was going to say, but she knew she couldn't let this continue without Maya knowing the truth. Maya looked up in surprise as Ashley approached their table. "Ashley, what are you doing here?" Ashley's mouth opened and closed like a fish. She hadn't thought this through at all. Alex looked between the two women, clearly confused. I was just having dinner with Tyler," Ashley said lamely, gesturing toward their table where Tyler was trying to hide behind his menu. "What a coincidence," Maya said, though something in Ashley's expression was making her uneasy. "Ashley, this is Alex. Alex, this is my coworker, Ashley." Alex stood politely and shook Ashley's hand. "Nice to meet you." Ashley looked at Alex's kind face, then at Maya's happy expression, and felt her resolve crumble. She couldn't do it. She couldn't destroy this moment. "I just wanted to say hi," Ashley said weakly. "You two look like you're having a great time." "We are," Maya said, her smile returning. "Alex was just telling me about his work in Italy." That's great," Ashley said, backing away from the table. "I'll let you get back to your date." She practically ran back to Tyler, who looked at her expectantly. "Well?" Tyler asked. "I couldn't do it," Ashley whispered, slumping in her chair. "Tyler, they're really connecting." "Like really connecting?" "Maya looks happier than I've ever seen her." Tyler glanced over at Maya's table again. Alex was showing Maya something on his phone, and they were both laughing. Maya's hand was resting on the table, and Tyler noticed that Alex's hand was close to hers. Not touching, but close enough that the intention was clear. "Maybe we should just leave," Tyler said. "Let them finish their date. We never have to tell them what really happened." "But what about tomorrow? What about when Maya comes to work and wants to talk about her amazing date? What about when Alex tries to contact her again through the fake dating service that doesn't exist? Tyler, this is going to blow up eventually." Ashley was right, and Tyler knew it. Their prank had created a situation that couldn't be sustained. Maya and Alex were building something real on a foundation of lies, and when the truth came out, it would hurt both of them. Meanwhile, Maya had excused herself to go to the restroom. As she walked past Ashley and Tyler's table, Ashley made a split-second decision that would change everything. "Maya, wait," Ashley called out softly. Maya stopped and turned. "What's wrong? You look upset." Ashley looked around the restaurant, then at Tyler, who was shaking his head frantically, but Ashley couldn't live with herself if she let this continue. "Maya, I need to tell you something," Ashley said, her voice barely above a whisper. "About your date." "About Alex." Maya's expression changed immediately. "What about Alex?" Ashley's hands were shaking. "He's not. I mean, the way you met him isn't." "Maya, there was no guy at the coffee shop." Maya stared at her, not understanding. "What do you mean?" "Tyler and we made it up. The whole story about someone seeing you at Sunrise Coffee. We set up this date as a joke." The color drained from Maya's face. She looked back at Alex, who was sitting at their table checking his phone, completely unaware that his evening was about to be destroyed. "A joke?" Maya's voice was so quiet Ashley had to lean in to hear her. "Maya, I'm so sorry. It was supposed to be harmless. We didn't think. We never imagined. You set me up on a fake date?" Maya's voice was getting louder, and other diners were starting to look over. "It wasn't supposed to go like this," Ashley said desperately. "We thought it would be funny, but then you two actually seemed to like each other, and now I don't know what to do." Maya felt like the floor was falling out from under her. The best evening she'd had in years. The connection she'd felt with Alex. The hope that had been building in her chest. It was all based on a lie. Her coworkers had set her up to be humiliated, and she'd walked right into it. "Does he know?" Maya asked, her voice hollow. "I don't think so," Ashley said. "Maya, I'm so sorry. I know sorry doesn't fix this, but..." Maya held up her hand to stop Ashley from talking. She needed to think, needed to process what she'd just learned. Alex was sitting at their table waiting for her to come back, probably planning to ask her out again. And he had no idea that their entire meeting was based on a cruel joke. What Ashley didn't know was that Alex had his own confession to make. Maya stood frozen in the middle of Romano's restaurant, feeling like everyone was staring at her. Her mind was racing, trying to process what Ashley had just told her, the beautiful evening she'd been having, the connection she'd felt with Alex, the hope that had been growing in her heart. It was all built on a lie. She looked back at their table where Alex was sitting, probably wondering what was taking her so long. He had such a kind face, such genuine eyes. How was she supposed to go back there and pretend everything was fine? How was she supposed to look at him knowing that he was part of some elaborate joke? But then a terrible thought hit her. What if Alex was in on it too? What if this whole thing was just one big setup and everyone was laughing at her? Her stomach felt sick. "Maya, please," Ashley whispered urgently. "I know you're upset, but maybe you should go back to your table. People are starting to notice." Maya realized Ashley was right. A few diners were glancing their way, and the last thing she wanted was to cause a scene. She took a deep breath and tried to compose herself. "Is he part of it?" Maya asked quietly. "Does Alex know this is all fake?" Ashley shook her head quickly. "No, I don't think so. We contacted someone else originally, but somehow Alex ended up here instead. I think he believes this is a real date, too." That made Maya feel slightly better, but also worse. At least Alex wasn't deliberately trying to humiliate her, but that meant he was about to be hurt too when he found out the truth. Maya walked slowly back to their table, her legs feeling shaky. Alex looked up with a warm smile that made her heart ache. "Everything okay?" Alex asked, standing as she approached. "You look a little pale." Maya sat down, not trusting herself to speak right away. Alex poured her some water from the pitcher on their table. "Maya, what's wrong?" Alex asked gently. "Did something happen?" The concern in his voice almost made her cry. He was being so sweet, so caring, and she was about to destroy whatever was building between them. "Alex," Maya started, then stopped. "How do you tell someone that your entire meeting is based on a cruel joke? How do you explain that your coworkers thought it would be funny to set you both up for embarrassment?" "Take your time," Alex said softly. "Whatever it is, we can talk about it." Maya looked into his eyes and made a decision. She couldn't lie to him. If there was going to be anything real between them, it had to start with honesty. "Alex, I need to tell you something about tonight," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. "About how we ended up here." Alex leaned forward, his expression serious but patient. "There was no man at the coffee shop," Maya said in a rush. "My coworkers Ashley and Tyler made that up. They set this whole thing up as a prank. They wanted to embarrass me by setting me up on a terrible blind date and filming my reaction." Alex stared at her for a long moment, processing what she'd just said. Maya watched his face, waiting for anger or disgust or hurt. Instead, she saw something she didn't expect. Relief. "A prank?" Alex repeated slowly. "I just found out," Maya said quickly. "Ashley told me when I went to the restroom. She's sitting over there with Tyler and they've been watching us all night. I had no idea this was all fake until 5 minutes ago." Maya waited for Alex to get angry, to stand up and leave, to accuse her of being part of the joke. Instead, he started laughing. Not mean laughter, but genuine, almost relieved laughter. "You're laughing?" Maya asked, confused. "Maya, I have a confession too," Alex said, still chuckling. "I'm not here because someone saw you at a coffee shop either." Now it was Maya's turn to stare. "What do you mean?" "My business partner Jake got a message from what he thought was a dating service. Someone said a local woman was interested in meeting a successful businessman. Jake thought I needed to get out more, so he passed your information along to me." Maya felt her confusion growing. "So you're here because of a dating service?" "I thought I was. But Maya, think about it. If your friends made up the story about the coffee shop and I got set up through Jake, then someone contacted both of our sides separately. This whole thing is more complicated than either of us realized." They looked at each other across the table, both trying to piece together what had actually happened. Then Maya had a terrible thought. "Oh no," she said. "Alex, I think you were supposed to be the prank." "What do you mean?" "Ashley and Tyler said they contacted someone who would be completely wrong for me. Someone who would make me uncomfortable. They wanted to film me being embarrassed on a horrible date." Maya felt her cheeks burning with shame. "I think they contacted your friend Jake pretending to be a dating service, and you were supposed to be the disaster date." Alex was quiet for a moment, then he started laughing again. "So let me get this straight. Your friends tried to set you up with someone terrible, contacted my friend Jake with a fake story, and somehow ended up introducing us to each other?" "I think so," Maya said miserably. "I'm so sorry, Alex. I had no idea. I never would have agreed to this if I'd known it was fake." "Maya, look at me," Alex said gently. She raised her eyes to meet his. "Are you having a good time tonight?" Alex asked. The question surprised her. "What?" "Right now, sitting here with me, talking to me, are you enjoying yourself?" Maya thought about it. Despite learning about the prank, despite feeling embarrassed and confused, She realized she was still drawn to Alex. Their conversation had been natural and easy. He'd made her laugh. He'd listened to her stories about the bookstore and her volunteer work like they actually mattered. "Yes," she admitted quietly. "I am. So am I," Alex said. "Maya, I don't care how we ended up here. I don't care if your friends played a prank or if my business partner was playing matchmaker. What I care about is that I've had the best evening I've had in years." Maya felt something flutter in her chest. "Really? Really? I came here tonight expecting to have an awkward dinner with someone I had nothing in common with. Instead, I met someone who lights up when she talks about books, who volunteers her time to help kids find stories they love, who cares about representation and making sure everyone feels included." Alex reached across the table and gently touched her hand. "Maya, can I ask you something?" She nodded. "Would you like to start over? Forget about the prank, forget about how we got here, and just be two people who met and want to get to know each other better?" Maya felt tears prick at her eyes, but they weren't sad tears. "You really want to do that?" "I really do. Hi, I'm Alex Rodriguez. I run a software company. I love hiking and old movies, and I would very much like to buy you dinner and hear more about your work at the bookstore." Despite everything, Maya found herself smiling. "Hi, Alex, I'm Maya Chen. I manage a bookstore, I have a cat named Whiskers, and I would love to have dinner with you." They both started laughing, and suddenly the weight of the evening's revelations felt lighter. Around them, the restaurant continued its normal Friday night rhythm. But at their table, something new and genuine was beginning. "Can I tell you something?" Alex said. "I was really nervous about tonight. I don't date much. I work too much, and most people either find that boring or they're more interested in my bank account than in me." "I was nervous too," Maya admitted. "I haven't dated anyone in 2 years. I was starting to think I'd forgotten how." "Well, for someone who's out of practice, you're doing pretty well," Alex said with a grin. They spent the next hour talking like they had when the evening started, but now with complete honesty. Alex told her about building his company from nothing, about the long hours and the stress, but also about the satisfaction of helping small businesses succeed. Maya talked about her dreams of opening her own bookstore someday, about her love of connecting readers with the perfect story. "You know what's funny?" Maya said as they were finishing dessert. "Ashley and Tyler were trying to set me up for disaster, but they might have accidentally done something wonderful. Should we thank them?" Alex asked, only half joking. Maya glanced over at Ashley and Tyler's table. They were still sitting there looking miserable and uncertain. "Maybe eventually," Maya said. "But right now I think they're learning that pranks can have unexpected consequences." As the evening wound down, Alex walked Maya to her car. The Portland air was crisp and clear, and Maya felt more hopeful than she had in months. "Maya," Alex said as they reached her car, "would you like to have dinner again? A real date this time, no pranks, no misunderstandings. Just us." "I would love that," Maya said. "How about Sunday? I know a great little cafe that serves the best brunch in the city, and after, if you want, I could show you some of my favorite hiking trails." Maya's heart fluttered. That sounds perfect. As she drove home that night, Maya couldn't stop smiling. What had started as a cruel joke had turned into something beautiful and real. Sometimes, she thought, the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. 6 months had passed since that unforgettable night at Romano's, and Maya's life had changed in ways she never could have imagined. What started as a cruel prank had blossomed into the most beautiful relationship she'd ever experienced. She was currently sitting in Alex's living room, helping his 8-year-old daughter Zoe with her homework. Alex had picked Zoe up from his ex-wife Rachel's house that afternoon, and Maya had joined them for what had become their regular Friday routine. "Miss Maya, how do you spell adventure?" Zoe asked, looking up from her creative writing assignment with bright, curious eyes. "Adventure," Maya spelled out slowly, watching as Zoe carefully wrote each letter in her notebook. "Perfect. Now I can finish my story about the girl who discovers a secret library." Maya smiled, remembering how Alex had told her about Zoe's love of reading during their second date. It had been one of many things that had drawn them closer together. Alex was a devoted father, and seeing him with Zoe had shown Maya a side of him that made her fall even deeper. "What happens in the secret library?" Maya asked, genuinely interested. "The books come alive at night and they tell the girl all their stories. But she has to keep it secret, or the magic will disappear." "That sounds like an amazing story. Zoe, you're such a good writer. Alex walked into the room carrying 3 mugs of hot chocolate complete with marshmallows. How's the homework going, kiddo? Miss Maya is helping me with my story, Zoe said, accepting her hot chocolate gratefully. Dad, can Maya come to my school's reading fair next week? Alex glanced at Maya, and she could see the question in his eyes. They'd talked about taking things slow, especially when it came to Zoe. Maya adored the little girl, but she was careful not to overstep boundaries. If Maya wants to come and if it's okay with your mom, then I think that would be great, Alex said carefully. I would love to come, Maya said, and she meant it. Over the past 6 months, she'd watched Zoe blossom from a shy child who barely spoke to her into this confident girl who shared her stories and asked for help with homework. The integration hadn't been instant or easy. Rachel, Alex's ex-wife, had been understandably cautious about her daughter getting attached to someone new. But Maya had been patient, never pushing, always respectful of the boundaries that existed. Slowly, Rachel had warmed to her, especially after seeing how happy Zoe was when Maya was around. As Zoe continued working on her story, Alex sat down next to Maya on the couch. So, he said quietly, I have a surprise for you. Oh? Maya raised an eyebrow. What kind of surprise? The kind you'll find out about tomorrow night. I made us reservations somewhere special for our 6-month anniversary. Maya felt her heart flutter. 6 months. It felt like no time at all, and yet it felt like Alex and Zoe had always been part of her life. Can I have a hint? Nope, Alex said with a grin. But wear that blue dress I like. The one from our first date? That's the one. Maya had kept that dress even though it reminded her of one of the most emotionally complicated nights of her life. Now it held different memories, of honesty, of second chances, of finding love in the most unexpected circumstances. Dad, Zoe called from the dining table where she was working. Are you going to marry Miss Maya? Both adults froze. Alex's mug stopped halfway to his mouth, and Maya felt her cheeks turn bright red. Zoe, Alex said carefully, that's a pretty big question. Well, you smile different when she's here, Zoe said matter-of-factly, not looking up from her writing. And Maya smiles different too. And you both look at each other the way Princess Belle and the Beast look at each other in the movie. Maya couldn't help but laugh. That's quite an observation, Zoe. I'm very smart, Zoe said seriously. And I think it would be nice if Maya was around all the time instead of just some of the time. Alex reached over and squeezed Maya's hand. They'd talked about the future, of course, but always in careful, hypothetical terms. Neither wanted to rush into anything, especially with Zoe to consider. The next evening, Maya found herself getting ready for their anniversary dinner. She put on the blue dress and looked at herself in the mirror. 6 months ago, she'd put on this same dress feeling nervous and hopeful about meeting a stranger. Tonight, she was putting it on to celebrate falling in love with her best friend. When Alex picked her up, he looked handsome in a dark suit that made his eyes look even more intense than usual. You look beautiful, he said, kissing her cheek. You look pretty good yourself, Maya replied. So where are we going for this mysterious anniversary dinner? Alex just smiled. You'll see. 20 minutes later, Maya laughed as Alex pulled into the parking lot of Romano's. Really? You're taking me back to the scene of the crime. I thought it would be fitting, Alex said. This is where everything started. Where we met. Where we learned the truth about each other. Where we decided to give this a real chance. They walked into the restaurant hand in hand, and Maya was hit with a wave of nostalgia. It looked exactly the same. The warm lighting, the soft music, the romantic atmosphere that had made her so nervous 6 months ago. Rodriguez. Party of 2, Alex told the hostess. Right this way, the hostess said, leading them to a table by the window. Maya realized with surprise that it was the exact same table where they'd sat on their first date. You planned this, Maya said as they sat down. Maybe a little, Alex admitted. I wanted tonight to be special. As they looked over their menus, Maya caught sight of familiar faces across the restaurant. Ashley and Tyler were sitting at a corner table, just like they had 6 months ago. But this time they weren't hiding or planning pranks. They waved when they saw Maya looking their way. Did you invite them? Maya asked Alex. Actually, yes. I thought they should be here tonight. Maya was confused. Things with Ashley and Tyler had been awkward for a while after the prank revelation. Ashley had apologized profusely, and Tyler had eventually admitted that the whole thing had been his idea. It had taken a few months, but they'd all worked through it. In fact, Ashley had become one of Maya's biggest supporters, constantly asking about Alex and their relationship. "Why did you want them here?" Maya asked. Alex just smiled mysteriously. "You'll see." They ordered the same meals they'd had on their first date: chicken piccata for Maya, salmon for Alex. As they waited for their food, they talked about everything and nothing, the way couples do when they're completely comfortable with each other. "Maya," Alex said as their main courses arrived, "I need to tell you something." Something in his tone made Maya look up sharply. "What is it?" "These past 6 months have been the happiest of my life," Alex said seriously. "You've brought so much joy and light into my world and into Zoe's world too." Maya felt her heart start to beat faster. "Alex, when I met you that night, I thought I was just going to have dinner with a stranger. I never imagined I'd meet the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with." Alex stood up from his chair and Maya's breath caught in her throat. Around them, the restaurant seemed to grow quiet, as if everyone could sense that something important was happening. Alex pulled out a small velvet box and got down on one knee right there beside their table. "Maya Chen," Alex said, his voice clear and strong. "You came into my life through the most ridiculous circumstances imaginable. A prank that was meant to embarrass you instead brought me the greatest gift I could ever receive." Maya was vaguely aware that the entire restaurant was watching now, including Ashley and Tyler, who looked absolutely stunned. "You love Zoe like she's your own daughter. You make me want to be a better man. You make every day brighter just by being in it." Alex opened the box to reveal a beautiful solitaire diamond ring. "Maya, will you marry me? Will you be my wife and Zoe's stepmother and my partner in all the adventures still to come?" Maya's hands flew to her mouth, tears streaming down her face. She looked at Alex's hopeful, nervous expression, at the ring sparkling in the restaurant lighting, at all the faces around them waiting for her answer. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, "Yes, of course yes." The restaurant erupted in applause as Alex slipped the ring onto Maya's finger and stood to kiss her. Maya threw her arms around his neck, laughing and crying at the same time. "I love you," she whispered in his ear. "I love you too," Alex replied. "Both of you. You and that crazy romantic heart that said yes to a blind date set up by pranksters." As they broke apart, still holding each other, Maya saw Ashley and Tyler making their way over to their table. Ashley was crying almost as hard as Maya was. "Maya, oh my God," Ashley said, pulling her into a hug. "I can't believe. When Alex called and asked us to be here tonight, I hoped, but I didn't dare." "You knew?" Maya asked, looking between Ashley and Alex. "He wanted us here," Tyler said, grinning widely. "He said we should get to see the happy ending to the story we accidentally started." Alex put his arm around Maya's waist. "Ashley, Tyler, I want to thank you for playing that prank 6 months ago." Both of them looked shocked. "If you hadn't tried to set Maya up for embarrassment, we never would have met," Alex continued. "Your joke turned into the greatest thing that ever happened to both of us." Ashley started crying even harder. "I felt so guilty for so long." "Don't," Maya said firmly. "Alex is right. If you hadn't done what you did, we wouldn't be here right now." As the evening wound down and they prepared to leave the restaurant, Maya looked around.